Good afternoon. My name's Ian Dean, owner and proprietor of Help and Happiness Personal Training. Today we're going to do a short vlog in a very important topic. How long should you be active a week? Now, obviously I'd like you to enjoy and watch some of my other vlogs. But the subject matter today is actually one of the more vital. So if you take anything away from my YouTube channel, I would say this is the one. So there's a lot of contradictory information out there about how active we should be, and the primary one to look at is government regulations. There's a number of government departments that look at this. So they basically state that in order to be healthy, an adult, I think it's from 17 to 65, should complete 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. And it's important to stress that there is a minimum period or minimum duration of activity to count, and that is 10 minutes. So if you're sitting on a sofa, you get up, you walk to the kitchen, you make a cup of tea, you walk back, say that takes 2 minutes of functional activity. That doesn't actually count. So it has to be 10 minutes. So that's a 10-minute walk, 10-minute run, a 10-minute swim, 10 minutes of housework, 10 minutes of mowing the lawn, and I'll come on to that. So it has to be 10 minutes or more. Now, 150 minutes sounds like a lot. That's 2.5 hours per week. But if you break it down, that is pretty much 30 minutes, 5 days a week. They recommend doing activity daily rather than doing no activity all week and then going bonkers at the weekend. Obviously, you can do that if your lifestyle or your career prohibits you from or interferes with your fitness, but they do suggest that you break it up, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is where I get very annoyed, very angry, I suppose, with some of my colleagues in the leisure industry, because people, and I hear it on a daily basis, tempt or encourage or even insist that this must be gym-based activity and with a personal trainer. Now, obviously, a personal trainer will help if you engage Health and Happiness for an hour. I will make that hour rewarding, which will be 60 minutes of your 150. But you don't need that, and you don't need to actually go to the gym. I think gyms have been around for 20, 30 years, but human beings have been on this planet for centuries, and they've somehow managed to be fit back in the 1800s. Because I say that the fittest people you see on the planet, okay, they do probably drink a bit and eat too much, are farmers, because they're doing physical activity, multifunctional sort of activity, a lot of twisting, a lot of pulling, a lot of things. And this is one of the reasons why we as a species are actually putting weight on now, because most of the jobs in the 60s and 70s, or up to the 60s and 70s, were manual labour, non-technology based, doing something, whereas now most people are behind a computer, and even manual jobs are now actually technology assisted. You press a button or push something, something will happen. So you don't see nowadays bricklayers with hods on their shoulders going up 5 flights. They put it on a dumb waiter, or it's craned up. So don't fall into that trap. You are the one who's in charge of your life. You are the one that can actually motivate yourself and understand the benefits of being fit, so you can incorporate that in your daily life. So as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't have to be anything organised. It doesn't even have to cost money. So if you hoovered the lawn, if you mowed the lawn for 10 minutes, that counts as your to your activity. So 150 minutes a week, you've done 10 minutes. You've then got to find another 140 minutes hoovering, doing housework, walking, swimming, walking the dog. You don't really see many overweight dog walkers. They're usually probably one of the fitter populations. And the two classics that I always say to my clients is get off a bus stop earlier, get off a train stop earlier. If you work in Holborn and you're on the Central Line, get off at Chancery Lane and walk the last mile. That will take you 15 minutes, say 20 minutes, and that will contribute to your target. The classic at work is use the stairs. Don't use the lift. Obviously, it depends on the height of the building, because if you've got to do 10 minutes, that's going to be difficult if you work on the first floor. So maybe incorporate that into another bit of a walk. But even if it doesn't count to your 10 minutes, to your 150 minutes, walking up the stairs is going to be good enough. That's going to help. So the next thing then is what does moderate activity mean? So moderate activity is something where you should be having a little bit of light perspiring. You should be having signs that you can't talk as easy as you are when you're sitting down. And also you should be slightly out of breath. You'll probably feel your heart rate being elevated, and they're all good signs. Obviously, if you start to feel like you're going to faint, or you've got other signs that your heart is jumping out of your chest, then sort of calm it down. And I suppose the other thing to mention here, which is an important one, is that if you haven't trained for a while, or you're concerned that you might have some health implications, go and have a chat with your doctor before you start doing any physical activity. As I always say to the clients I meet on my London Borough, Barking and Dagenham work, we're here to make you healthy, we're not here to kill you. And the thing is that exercise doesn't need to be hell to be healthy. Do something that you enjoy. Don't bust your balls. You know what I mean? Like, just do something nice and relaxed, like a nice little walk around the park. Get your mates. If you meet in the pub, one day maybe meet over the park and just have a little bit of a stroll or whatever. So do something that you enjoy, and you're more likely to stick at it. So on the exertion thing, obviously, as I say, it should be something that's reasonably exerting to moderate, makes you sweat, makes you perspire, makes you breathe a little bit heavier, harder to have a conversation. And the rule of thumb is that if you can sing your favourite song, then you're not working hard enough. If you can sing a bit without actually with stopping, then it's a sign you're working hard enough. So you should be able to have a conversation with your mate on another treadmill, for example, but you shouldn't be able to sort of literally just keep talking. That's a sign that that's more of a social activity rather than a fitness activity. So a very simple, slightly more complicated than that, but still simple, is using a 0 to 10 scale. Most surveys, most people are familiar with a 0 to 10 scale. So 0 is like what I'm doing now. I'm sitting down, I'm doing nothing. 10, very hard. I've only ever really seen one example of a 10, and that's probably Redgrave when he was doing his training and he was at the end falling off of the rower and puking in a bucket. That's a 10, and obviously you shouldn't do that. And there's no reason for us as people in the general population to work that hard. So you roughly want to be like a 4 or 5 out of 10, and you'll know that pretty quickly yourself. And that probably translates to about 50% of your maximum heart rate, and there's obviously on the internet a number of ways that you can work out your maximum heart rate, and then you can actually see what your heart rate should be in certain zones. But that's probably a little bit too much for the general sort of Janet and Johns out there. And if you do go into that, then please message me. I can explain whatever, and you can buy apps and watches, and most gyms have things that you hold on to get your heart rate. So that is it for today. As I say, 150 minutes a week, moderate activity. It needs to be continuous of 10 minutes or more. And also you should actually have a light perspiration. So as I say, my name is Ian Dean, owner and proprietor of Health and Happiness Personal Training. Please like this video, please follow the Facebook page, and get in touch with me if you've got any questions. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. Bye.